everybody? Welcome back to the American Entourage podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Stewman.
Jose Escamilla.
Darian Stevens.
We back again. You know, I'm going to start this one off hard as a motherfucker, man, because the same old shenanigans, man. The story never fucking changes. You know what I mean? The cops just shot another fucking black guy, and then it causes the world to be, not the world, but the country to be in turmoil. You know, and there's many different perspectives on how that works, but you hear some people say, well, he should have listened to the police, and then you hear other people say, well, they shouldn't have fucking shot him, and then they're rioting, you know, like, and I don't know who they are. I have this theory that it's crisis actors. The conspiracy guy in me is like, normal people ain't finna do this shit, right? It's underpaid college kids that need their tuition paid by George Soros or some shit, right? But I also understand the anger, because yesterday, Plies, the rapper, you know, the guy that invented the term Becky, you know, he showed a video, and it was a white dude that was tased by a police officer, hit the police officer in the fucking head, swept his legs out from under him, and then stole his goddamn car, and the dude didn't shoot him. So, you know, on one hand, I'm like, all right, the motherfucker should have listened to police. I don't have my ass whooped for not listening to police. I know you have. You probably have. For sure. But it was totally my fault. Okay, so they never shot me. But I also, you know, one twist of the arm, and I'm like, okay, I know you motherfuckers got guns, right? But on the second thing, seeing this fucking another white cop give a white dude 3 passes, a hit to the face, a sweep to the leg, and a stolen fucking car after being tased, it really makes you fucking wonder. You know, that's what I'm saying, man. I really feel that. And, you know, I don't have an answer for it. You know, I feel like, here's what I always say. It's probably not, and it may be, right? I'm really kind of changing my heart lately, but I've always said in the past for about 10 years, because I've been in prison, you know, if there's 2 dudes walking down the street, a black guy and a white guy, and the white guy has tattoos on his neck, looks a little strung out, like grunge clothes with his pants sagging and shit like that, and there's a black guy walking next to him in a suit and tie, which one you gonna pick up? Which one, if you got to let one of them in your car, which one you going to pick up?
The guy with the suit and tie.
The fucking black guy. Every day, even if you're a racist, you're going to trust the clean-looking black guy in your car more than you're going to trust the strung-out-looking white dude. So part of what I think is it's the way a person carries themselves, because I've been that white guy that nobody would let in their car before. You know what I mean? Like, if you just saw me when I was on drugs and shit like that, you would have thought, fucking lock the door. This motherfucker's not good, right? And so I think that forever I thought, man, it's just how people carry themselves, man. If you want to look like a gangster and a thug, that's what the fucking cops are going to think of you. You know what I mean? You can be in the hood and still be well put together. We've seen movies like Boys in the Hood were Furious. What Sirius was his name, right? Yep. He was always dressed nice. He was trying to enlighten people, you know? But then all the dudes around him looked like gangsters, you know? And so I thought, man, you know, forever I thought, man, it's just how you appear. And, but man, that white dude in that video with Plies appeared like the white dude I just described, and he's still got a pass. And you know, each cop's different, but fuck, man, I don't have a blanket solution to him, you know. And we see this guy that goes, this young kid. I don't know if you saw this over in Wisconsin after they shot Jacob Blake. They're rioting. So this young kid and a bunch of other patriots, we'll call them,
17-year-old. Yeah,
go over there with guns. So first of all, you're 17, you cannot carry a gun. You can't. You got to be 18 to buy and bear firearms without parental supervision. You can go hunting, but you got to have a parent there with you. You can't be having a gun by yourself. And I know the gun laws vary well in this country, and unfortunately, school is expensive, as you say. And you know, he goes there to protect people, and he was a part of the BLM movement. And then got into it with some other white people, and they started fucking attacking him, and he ended up shooting 2 of them. Well, one of the guys that died was a felon that was carrying a firearm. And so now I see people saying, oh, this 17-year-old kid's a murderer. He killed an innocent dude. But the dude, again, was a felon with a firearm, just like Jacob was he was wanted for raping a 14-year-old. You know what I mean? So I think, in my opinion, and this is the white guy inside of me just saying this, in my opinion, it's like, I'm sure people get hurt every day that don't deserve it by the police. I'm sure there's people of color every day that get hurt by the police. Why doesn't the media point those people out and they go viral. You know what I mean? Where we can all be unified and go, that's fucked up. The first thing when that happened to George Floyd was like, that's fucked up. There's no doubt that's fucked. Then we find out some other shit and you're like, well, now I don't fucking know anymore. But I'm sure there's like people that are black, Mexican, whatever, every day that get fucked up, shot, and killed by the cops that were totally innocent. We never hear about them.
Well, I feel like, one, you don't ever get the real story.
You don't?
Because nobody was there, right? So then it's just really people trying to put pieces together. And the people that were involved, the people who are living, you know, it's survival of the fittest. Everybody's going to do what's beneficial for them, period. And especially if you know you got that privilege, being a cop, you know, you work for the justice system. And let's be honest, like, being white too, there is systematic racism and, you know what I mean? Especially it's easier for a cop to get away with something, especially if somebody has a record.
Yep.
That's a fucking fact. Like,
yep.
If somebody's got a record, they say, well, this guy's a felon. He could be a good-ass person.
Could be like me.
I know so many people who committed crimes on paper. They were just trying to feed their family.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're not bad people. So it's like, I don't subscribe to that personally. And then to shoot somebody at point-blank range 7 times?
7's a lot, man.
Bro, hey, I know, like, I don't got no sympathy for anybody fucking with kids, none of that. Like, go to hell. But, like, regardless, 7 times point blank, that's excessive force.
Is this the guy that reached in his car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they shot him on his back, right?
They could have, before they got his ass around the corner, they could have pulled his ass back.
But
he followed him and then was like, doop, 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 doop. He dumped the clip in him.
Seven's a lot, man.
He dumped the clip in him.
On one hand, you ever been nervous
and
and shot more times than not? But then again, you know some stone cold motherfuckers, so I don't know.
I mean, if me and you are having a confrontation and you going in your car and I feel like you're reaching for something, I'm gonna let you have it. That's point blank. That's me being from the streets. Yeah. If me and you are in a confrontation and you turn around and reach for your pants, something inside your shirt, or you go and reach in your car, I'm gonna give you the business. That's plain and simple. It's you or me. He didn't have no. I think I saw a little clip. I think it was on a 50 Cent Instagram.
Yeah,
he went and reached in his car. You know, like if I'm in front of a police officer, I'm gonna lean up against the car, answer his questions, give him my ID, and hopefully go about my business. If I gotta go and hit the county, call Ryan, hey, bail me out real quick, man. I got you and I get out. You know, but I've had numerous run-ins with police officers, and I think out of all the run-ins, the 2 that the police officers did beat us up, and then they let us go. They didn't take us to juvie. That was our faults. You know, but as an adult, being picked up for investigation on homicide cases or conspiracy cases, I was known. My MO was to have guns on me at every time. A violent person. At 14, I went in to TYC for attempted murders. Got older, shit just got worse. So I was already known that if you pull up on me and you run my ID and my name pops up, you automatically call back up. So they surround, get my blind spots to get me out the vehicle. They're expecting me to act fidgety. I just cooperate. You know, I'm not upset. You put me over for a reason. You know, I'm in the game. I know the rules to the game. You pay, you play, right? Yeah. You got to pay if you want to play. Now, I understand. I'm very cooperative. I've seen these videos where you got attorneys kind of going against a police officer, not answering their questions, right? I'm not going to do that shit. You know, even if it's the law for me not to answer questions, right? Where you going? And shut up. You know, if I'm not up to anything bad, I'm going to answer my questions. I'm going to give them my ID. Yes, sir. No, sir. Here's my registration. I don't have insurance. Oh, we got to tow your car. That's the law. Fuck it. Take it. You know, I know the game. I'm not going to sit here and become a victim when I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? The Department of Public Safety requires me to have insurance. If I don't have insurance, they got to tow my shit. So I got to have insurance before I jump in there, right? But as far as having difficulties or life-threatening situations, I mean, with my MO, I'm pretty more dangerous. I mean, I got a reputation, right? But I'm still going to honor their job, and their job is to come and chase me. My job is to try to get away. If they got me, I'm not gonna sit here and be victimized to it, right? I've never had, a bad situation happen other than hit the county, make my phone calls, sit back and chill, and wait for my bond to come through. If I don't have a bond because of probation or a parole violation, I sit back, get comfortable, get some books, and let's finish this. So if you're reaching for a car, let's be gangsters, right? Let's talk from that perspective, since those are the guys that normally have the biggest opinions. If I'm confronting anybody who's listening into this, you and I are having a confrontation where it gets heated, and you turn around and reach inside your car, and I got something on me, I'm going to let you have it. I'm going to air you out. That's plain and simple. And I believe that in this situation, he had no right reaching in there. That's fucking retarded. Like, what were you in there reaching for, even if he didn't have a gun? How many times have you seen these fake gangsters get into it and they start talking about pumping trunks, and then they go pump the trunk, they pull out a tire iron or a bat or something. You don't know who you did. Pump the trunk means you finna go grab something. I'm going to let you have it before you get there. So I don't see where everybody wants to create this continue to fan the flame and continue with this hatred. I mean, look at it for what it is. Stay woke. That was our theme on the last one. Stay woke. Like, quit listening to the media. Quit listening to the hype. Quit making people who put themselves in that situation victimized. They're not victims. That dude was not a victim. How the fuck am I going to look getting pulled over by a police officer? He's asking me questions. I'm walking off and going reach in my car. And he let me have it 7 times. He don't know what I'm going to pull out. I mean, that's just, in my opinion, coming from my background and seeing the federal institutions, the state institutions for decades at a time. My last bid was 14 years before I did my violation. Right, so that's 14 flat. I went and saw the United States penitentiaries, the mediums, the lows. Like, I went and saw. So I've been around some very hardened criminals, and we've had these political conversations amongst blacks, whites, of course, Mexicans, Hispanics, and I mean, everybody would view it my way because I've never had someone contradict my views when it came to something like that. So I don't agree with making victims out of people who had it coming. I'm not going to say he had it coming. I'm just saying he reacted in a way that deserved an action on it, right? There's consequences.
Like, and I feel you. My thing is, like, to what extent is that action? Because if you watch the video, he was in such close proximity, he could have tackled him to the ground. He let him get in his car. You know what I mean?
I did see that. He did let him get in the car.
Let him get in his car. So it's like, damn, how you gonna let somebody get in their car to bring you to that point? You know what I'm saying? If that was me, I'm trying to tackle, bro. Like, sit your ass down, like, okay, and lock him in and put him in a headlock. You know what I mean? I got other officers by me. We could pin him down and get him arrested and get him gone. It's that simple. Like, now, the fact that he went in his car, I absolutely get your point. He could have been reaching for anything.
They should have got his ass before that, though, right?
Facts.
Okay, but let's
7 times though, 7 shots.
But see,
in the back.
Let me say this before you say your thing. The difference is, me and you, we knew the rules to the game that we played. If you're gonna play cops and robbers, and you're the robber, you got to know the rules. Like, we know the rules against the force of average. We know the rules to business, right? The IRS, they got rules. You got to follow those rules. You get fined for them, right? And we know the rules of the games that we play. And I think some people in outside of this situation, I think most people, not some people, most people know the rules and ignore them. How many people you know cheat in their marriage, cheat on their business, cheat on their taxes, cheat in the fucking system? You know what I mean? And they think, oh, it'll never catch up to me. And in one moment it does. See, there's a difference between someone that knows the rules and respects the rules, because there ain't no referees out here. Like right now in basketball, if you foul somebody, the referee's gonna, you're in the NBA, the referee's gonna call that foul. That's the rule. You broke the rule. You get 6 of them, you're out the motherfucking game, right? And the professionals, they know that, right? A lot of these people, though, like you and me, we always kept level heads too. We weren't high on crazy fucking drugs. A lot of these guys, I mean, clearly that dude with the knife that raped a 14-year-old girl and shit, he was probably whacked out of his fucking mind on drugs. You know what I mean? Like he probably was. That's in there's no judgment there. I'm just saying when you whacked out on drugs, you don't make good decisions. I know because I've been there. You know, I'm fortunate every time the police arrested me, I just happened to be not whacked out on fucking drugs. You know what I mean? But there's no telling what the fuck I might have done if I was. You know, you think you bulletproof and shit, you know?
I have a theory that it's like having a rat trap, right? What's the first thing we put on there? We put some cheese on there, you know, entice them to go in there so you can put them in that trap and get them. You know, I feel that if you fall into a trap, maybe, you know, in a financial, you know, somebody's trying to get you out your money, setting up the trap, making your greed come out to move forward and get your money, right? If you fall for these traps, man, that's on you. You got to stay more alert to your surroundings, right? So even if the police officer allowed him to go to that car, he fell into that trap himself, right? You got to be a little bit more alert that people want to hurt you around here. You know, maybe that was his thing, right?
Maybe the cop wanted to kill a black guy. You know what I mean? Maybe he'd been on the force for 20 years and been waiting for that shit, you know? That don't make it right, but...
You know, so, I mean, there's traps out there, and we got to be aware of them every day, every second, no matter who it is. You're going to fall into a trap. I got a 3-year-old daughter. She consistently puts me through these traps, and I keep falling for them. You know, so it doesn't matter who it is. You got to be aware. So there's a guy stalking a girl, right? And this is a true story. Like, this is real legit shit. And she calls the police officers. So, of course, she's black. They get a black police officer over there. And I happen to be there, right? She's a good friend of a friend. And I was there to make sure that the dude wouldn't come back around, right? I'm doing somebody a favor. And a police officer gets there and says, look, the first thing you want to do is file a restraining order on him. So what happens in a restraining order is that if he comes back around and he walks into your house and you shoot him and you kill him, you were in the right, right? First of all, he broke the law. He wasn't supposed to be 100 feet from you. So when he comes in, you're clear. You know, so there's traps that you can put for people, but you got to set that up. So if the dude ever decided to go back over there and she gives him the business, I mean, she gets obedient. It's legit. You know, so there's traps out there. So if the dude falls in for that trap and he's not a victim, you know, no matter if she was a white girl or a Hispanic girl or anything like that. He walks into that house against the law, does something. I mean, he's not a victim, and she airs him out. You know, so you have to be careful with your actions because there are consequences to them. There's counteractions to them, regardless of what it is. If you get fidgety in front of a police officer, you take off running, and your gun falls out, right? And a cop shoots you in your back. You had a gun fall out of your pants. How's he know that you don't have another one, right? And for people to make him into a victim because he didn't have a gun on him because his gun failed, how does he know that he ain't got 2 guns on there? You know, so I kind of don't fall into that trap of making people victims if they're behaving in that way. I saw that clip that you were talking about with that guy reaching in the car. I'm like, stupid, man. He shouldn't have reached in the car. I'm not going to reach in a car unless I got bad motives. There's only 2 things I'm going to do. I'm going to jump in a car and take off, right? And that's considered that's considered
fleeing and looting.
Yeah, so it's still a felony. But I'm not saying that's something worth shooting for. It's the unknown that could have happened at the moment, right? The unknown. Like, I don't know if you tell me, if you start reaching in your pants, we're fixing to get in a fight, I got a knife, I'm going to pull it out as fast as I can. I'm going to start getting you like you got a gun on you because that's how you reacting to me. You know, and if I got a gun and I pull out faster than you, you know, Doc Holliday, I'm going to do it. You know, so people's reaction, you got to be very cautious of your actions. I believe everybody's, I've never considered myself as a victim. I've been snitched on, right? That's what got me my 18 years. I did 14 on it flat. In the beginning, you know, I was kind of, these motherfucking rats. I can't believe it, man. I'm a victim to these rats. But it's really what I exposed them to, right? Someone can't snitch on me if they don't know what I'm doing. Another thing is I was in the game. I was playing. You know, I can't be a victim because I got fouled out the game. got to go sit in the corner pocket for 18 years. That's just what I did. I knew what I was doing, and I can't be a victim to that. Once you get into that victim mindset, you'll never advance in life. You'll never change. You'll never use what those consequences are to make you stronger, right? To change you mentally, physically, psychologically, change you for the better if you constantly have that victim mentality, right? Kind of like Malcolm X. Malcolm X never considered himself a victim. He was more on fighting back, getting mental strength, physical strength. Like, he was all for strength and fighting back. And I believe that when you become a victim, you don't have that advantage to fight back or to, learn or advance in life. 100%. Become the better version of yourself, because you're always victimized. Everything is someone else's fault. I don't have any money because my parents grew up poor, so I'm just going to be poor. I'm fat. I got diabetes, so I'm never going to get in shape. I'm a victim to circumstances. I'm never going to get that one job because this guy's smarter than me because of his genes and his family were smarter than mine. It takes hard work. It just gives someone a reason why not to put in the work or change or become better versions of themselves.
I agree with you 100%. That one of the biggest things I realize in life is that all my setbacks are within myself. I'm only as great as my next setback that I overcome within myself. I got a bad habit here, character issue here. If I correct that, I'm in a whole different, better position. So I agree with you. Like, it was stupid for him to go back in the car, but it's the action that could have taken place before. You know what I mean? I know. It's really like, even with the Plies video. Now we seen that, and that's just ludicrous.
It's fucking crazy.
If that was a black man, he would have got laid down.
Without a doubt.
Facts.
I have no doubt in my mind.
So it's like, obviously, like, the circumstances of each situation could have been totally different. The cop may have known the kid. Like, this shit, nobody knows. Like, nobody knows. But it's like, at the same time, like, my focus is more on, like, what could have took place before to prevent that type of shit from happening. Him going in his car, absolutely stupid. We all know that. Like, anybody with common sense knows that him going in his car is stupid as hell.
Especially in the goddamn current climate.
That gives him that gives him the right to speculate and say, "Hey, I was just trying to defend my life." He's not gonna get charged. Watch.
So I got two questions for you, right? And I'm gonna ask you both of them, then let you answer them. Number one, do you think somebody might be like a loser at life and just be like, today I'm gonna let the cops kill me, right? That's question number one. Question number two is, you're black and covered in tattoos, right? When you don't have your attire like you got on today, your nice polo shirt and all that shit because you're on the job. You come by here while you're on the job, obviously. You know that right now it's been brought to our attention more than ever, the cops killing black people. Does that make you act a different way? Like, if you get pulled over, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, if I'm not trying to get shot, and I know the cops are killing white people, like, it's going to be hands on the wheel, yes or no, sir, hands behind my back as soon as they show up, if I'm trying to live, right?
I'll give you an example. I got pulled over like three weeks ago.
Yeah, you told me.
I'm 10 to 2. I already got my license and my ID in my hand before you even walk up. I'm like, hey. I'm like, how you doing? I know I was speeding. I acknowledge. Because I'm like, I'm going to send this to my lawyer, get no points. I don't care anyway. You just caught me. I'm like, all right, cool. Here's my license. Here's my registration, all that. I'm like, hey, I also want to let you know I'm a business owner. I'm just taking care of clients. I got my company polo. I'm always driving my truck, ladder in the back. So he's like, okay, this guy, he not just like, you know what I mean? I literally keep my truck dirty on purpose and keep shit back there. It's like, you know, I'm active. You know what I mean? You don't want to be too clean because that's suspicious. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I know that I have to act like that because of the climate situation. Even when I go out here, I knock doors every day. Shout out Burton Hughes. Bro, I'm a master door knocker. I've spent days where I have the same polo, company polo, long sleeve. I had to go into certain neighborhoods, long sleeve. People don't even recognize. I had people totally listen to my pitch and be like, you absolutely right. Then I see them look me up and down, look at my tattoos and be like, well, I'm just not ready right now.
Yeah.
What? You know the nature of our business.
Yep.
If you don't know about like the insurance restoration business, hail hit your house. Insurance company pays for it. It's an act of God. It doesn't make your rates go up. People don't have to come out of pocket. When you put a roof on the house, the equity of the house goes up. Like, no brainer shit. It's the easiest sale in the world.
And you're not asking them to come inside.
Nope.
You know? Nothing you do revolves around going inside.
When people tell me no, I feel offended.
Yeah.
I swear, like, I believe in my product that much. And I know when people look me up and down, one, I'm young, I'm black, I got tats. You know what I mean? Sometimes, like, if I'm passionate, I'm really trying to talk to somebody, my Disney approved voice, I'll kind of slip up on that. You know, people pick up on shit like this. And then, like, it's just crazy. Like, I know that's what it is.
But look
It's
at how
Texas.
successful you are. Look how many yeses you've gotten as well.
Relentless.
You know, so
Gotta be.
and that just proves to what I've mentioned before. There's more good people in this world than bad. We
Facts.
just focus on the bad things because
Because
that's
it
just
hurt the most.
yeah. See, I've never looked at it that way. I honestly really don't pay attention to why people focus on the negative and the ugly so much and want to hold on to that. You know, I know what hatred can cause. I know what violence can cause. You know, going back, my little brother was executed. State of Texas executed my brother for shooting 6 police officers and killing 1. You know, so I know firsthand what violence, striking back, can cause, and I've lost a lot in the dope game, in gangs, where it hurts. I still, you know, I carry that on my shoulders right now. You know, my influence as being the big brother created that mental capability of doing something that vicious. You know, and I was locked up when that happened. And I just talked to him the day before, asking him to go to Mexico because he was on the run for murder. You know, was he a victim? No, he wasn't. You know, they gave us 30-minute calls the day before I was in the federal department. And he reached out. We talked for 30 minutes. They gave us a 30-minute phone call. First thing he said, bro, I made my own decisions. This has nothing to do with you, so don't carry this with you. The only thing I ask you is don't let this be for nothing. Don't let this be for nothing. Let it end here. Don't let our kids carry this burden with them. You know, my baby brother, he's a big, very scary looking dude. He moved to Tampa. He just got out about 4 years ago, and he's got 6 18-wheelers that he's got working on. He's doing very successful for himself. You know, I work in a multi-million-dollar company. I got great friends. You know, I have a lot of mentors and people that help me out because I've made that transition. You know, I've walked away from it. I didn't become a victim. I didn't go and advocate, you know, violence against cops or cops against the Hispanic community. You know, I don't, that's not my cup of tea. But I feel that if you strongly feel that way to the point where you're able to post negative, especially if you have influence and a following and you know, Plies is very knowledgeable. You know, I listen to some of the shit that he says. Some of it is funny, but it's real shit. Mm-hmm. If you are that strong, if you feel that strong about it, why don't you become a leader? Why don't you advocate for it? Why don't you do something about it? You got the money, you got the resources, you have the influence. You know, Jay-Z and all these other people, where are the leaders at? That's what we're missing. We're missing leadership. Yeah, I get that it's not equal out there. You know, white are scared of black. Black is the most feared man in America. It's always been that way. You know, so a white man being approached by an aggressive black dude, he's already at a disadvantage even if he has a gun. You have to remember that. The psychology that goes behind this shit. A lot of people don't understand that. You know, but if we have all these people, you know, fanning the flame, right, creating more hatred, you know, why don't you step up and be a leader? Because that's what we're missing. We're missing leadership. You know, and I challenge anybody out there. If you feel this strong enough where you feel your people are being victimized, stand up as a leader. Start advocating for peace. Start writing and all that. That's just, you know, hatred against hatred doesn't make it right. You know, what's looting doing but destroying businesses, small businesses, right? Won't you? I mean, I'm not gonna say anything, but let me just
go protest in front of the mayor's house.
Yeah. You know, people.
Except for in
makes
Chicago,
them,
the mayor said, "Y'all can't come here." You know, that no.
I'm not with none of that like looting shit. Like that, literally, you taking something that has a potential to be good and make change over time, and just turning it into a shit show. And nobody's gonna ever subscribe to vandalism and ruining people's businesses.
No,
you can't even you can't get the respect. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You taking away from the whole entire movement.
Yep.
Like, that shit is whack.
Where's the 2020 Cesar Chavez or the 2020 Martin Luther King? You know, where are those great men?
They're being hidden by the media. They're probably out there. They're being hidden by the media or called Uncle Toms or some shit like that.
I'm telling you,
know what I mean?
The way the culture is now, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Whenever shit like this happens, people go, they make their post. They got their 15 minutes of fame. Then they move on.
Yep.
The people, they post it. They get 1 million likes. Everybody commented, preach, blah, 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 like, but then it stops there. That's our culture right now.
So
You're absolutely right. Where's the 2020 Cesar Chavez, Martin Luther King? Who's actually making real change? I want you to name right now one leader in the African American community causing a change in the political climate right now. Go.
No, I can't think of anybody.
maybe Kanye.
Yeah.
Maybe. But they they start calling
he's
him
been
crazy.
Canceled.
Yeah, but they call
He's
him
been
crazy.
canceled.
You know, well, that's why I think so. So here's the outside looking in. So I mean, Jose comes from some serious shit that he just told us. Appreciate you sharing that. I notice you lightening up the more you hang out on the microphone. You know what I mean? You come from some serious shit in Detroit. You know, in as an outside perspective, Jose said something very important. Like, black man's been known to be the most feared man in America. So you think, okay, so that's that systematic racism that everybody talks about. So where does that stem from? Well, I'm going to say some real fucking unpopular shit, but that doesn't mean that it's not true. When you see a white guy, okay, if I was a police officer, and when I was a little kid, just like everybody else, that was one of the things I wanted to be, you know. I saw a lot of people in my neighborhood when I was young on drugs, and I thought, man, I want to grow up and be a DEA agent. Then I realized it was a lot funner to be on the drug side because those were the leaders in my neighborhood, right? There were no DEA agents in my fucking neighborhood. So I didn't get their experience, okay? So as a white guy, if I was a police officer, I see another white guy, I'm thinking, in my mind, and I'm just being straight with everybody, I'm thinking he probably listens to country music, which means he probably loves Jesus and mama, right? Probably lost a horse and a girlfriend at some point in his life, right? If I see a Mexican dude, I'm like, he probably listened to that fucking shit because all that music got the same damn beat, right? Probably works construction, right? That's just the stare. Probably works construction. Maybe he's here illegally, but probably still works in construction, right? When you think about the black community, and people always say this, they're like, oh, it's the culture. But the leaders, the Jay-Z, in the past, the Kanye, the guys like Future, the guys like Plies, what do they talk about all the time? Breaking the damn law, right? And so you see a black guy, you think he probably listens to, you see a white guy listen to country music, see a Mexican guy listen to Tejano music, black guy probably listens to rap music. 100% of rap music is about shit that's 100% illegal, fucking doing drugs, pimping fucking hoes and shit like that. So that's that. And what makes it worse is the guys that will say, oh, the world's racist are actually producing the music and shit that makes, because man, I grew up on listening to pop music like Madonna and country. Then when I moved into a predominantly black neighborhood and got turned on to NWA and Big Pun like we were listening to early in the 90s and shit like that, it's like, this shit's way fucking cooler. And it kind of made being a crook sound awesome. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, dude, you cocaine money, shit, you can fuck bitches and get cocaine and shoot and guns. And, oh, fuck this goddamn mama and Jesus bullshit. Look, right? And,
that's facts.
And so that's that real systematic racism. So here's the problem. Jose and I talked about this just the other day. In my office, is when we had a lady that we did over and above for, and she charged us back, right? She charged us back because she's hurting. She's financially hurting right now, and she charged us back. And I'm in there like, man, why the fuck would somebody do that, man? We did more than we were paid for this person. We got testimonials, videos, all this shit that she loved us. And now she left us and she's struggling. She charged us back. And we get focused on that. But we have 17,000 people that haven't done that. We don't think nothing of them. You know what I mean? We're grateful for them. But that one person that caused that pain, because Tony Robbins says it best. The human mind works with pleasure and pain is more powerful than pleasure. We'll do more to avoid pain than we will to get pleasure. Okay. And we'll focus more on pain than we will the pleasure. If life's good, life's good. If life sucks, like, oh, poor me, right? You never hear somebody go, life's great. But you hear people all the time, my life's fucked up right now. And so we have leaders within the rap community, like, and it doesn't even matter their color at this point. It's a whole culture, and because Eminem's crazy as fuck too, man. He be talking about doing all sorts of drugs and crazy shit and stuff, like murdering his mom and all that shit, right? and so, but the leaders, they're kind of incentivizing you how cool it is to do these wrong things. Which if I was a cop, I would be like, the white dude that doesn't, I look like somebody who would listen to rap music, but like the average white guy that's dressed like you are right now that doesn't have tattoos, he probably listens to, he's wearing Wranglers and some boots. He probably listens to Merle Haggard or some shit. You know what I mean? Whereas you see a black guy, if you were in here with your pants sagged down and fucking, a Gucci shirt and some shit like that, they'd probably be like, oh man, he might be in that drug game, and the leaders that could fix that are really making it worse. You know what I'm saying? And for the record, I like rap music better than country music. But I'm also smart enough to know, because I'm older now and have suffered the consequences of the game, to know that shit ain't really where it's at. You know what I mean? Like the drug dealers, what you bought drugs before, you typically don't come to my neighborhood to buy drugs. And what's crazy, I said this the other day, I need to put this on Facebook, is people will say, Stuman, you don't understand, because you live in a predominantly white neighborhood. That is a fucking lie. Right across the street from me is a black guy, okay, in a multi-million-dollar home. You've been to my neighborhood. He got a Ferrari and a Lamborghini. 5 doors down from him, another black guy. He got a Lamborghini and a Porsche, right, in my neighborhood. The only people that are white on my block, there's probably 10 houses on my block, probably 4 of them are white. The rest of them are Asian. There's a Hispanic dude, and even Justin, who lives down the street, man, shit, he don't look like he belongs in the motherfucker either. You know what I mean? He looks just like me. So I live in actually the most multicultural neighborhood I've ever lived in my life, because I've always been the minority up until recently, and even now I'm still one of the minorities. And so people say, oh, well, you don't understand because you live in a white neighborhood. Shit, it's really not that way, and it's opened my eyes that anybody can be successful.
Well, here's the thing. People don't know what they don't know. You got to get here. When he was just saying now, we don't have any leaders. Really, I feel like it's just a call to action.
That's
like,
you.
Based off everything he's saying, I feel that shit. Like, now I'm fired up. I'm like, now I'm really thinking here, sitting like, what can I actually do? You know what I mean? It's just like, even if you listen to the music, right? Everything, we're spiritual beings in a human experience.
Yep.
So like growing up, like, bro, shout out Doughboys Cash Out, that's where I got my, help me get my hustle and stuff. Like, listen to the lyrics of this song. I sell dope, fuck hoes, rock ice, throwing up gang signs, mob life. Like, that's like what we listen to. You know what I'm saying? Now, and if you don't know shit, and you looking up the people doing shit, they got shit, they shining, they're living the American dream. Mm-hmm. When we're talking materialistic things, from what we seen on TV and been fed our whole lives, we're like, okay, that's the path. Because my mom, she went to college. She's not making 6 figures. She's been working 20 years corporate. She don't have the Benzes. She don't have the ice. That's what I want. I want to live the American dream. I want to be free. That's cheese in a trap. And it's in the music. That music, man, that music is the downfall, I feel like, of our people right now.
I agree.
Pimp C, before he died, he came out with a rant, right? Talking about ATL rappers. How they talking about cocaine and getting these low prices, these Texas prices in Atlanta. He was calling them out on their lies. And what he was saying is, y'all need to quit preaching about this dope game. I want you, if you're going to teach about the dope game, teach about the other half of it, right? Where you go to jail and your mama's crying and your kids are crying because you're in jail. Why don't you talk about that? I want you to talk about when as soon as you go to prison, your girl leaves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your kids are doing bad. Who's feeding them? Other men are raising them. And that was strong. Like, that's strong to the point where Boosie put it on his rap song on Wake Up. And I recommend everybody read that if you're into rap music real heavy. That's the real part of the Dope Game, is what Boosie and Pimp C sing on that song, Wake Up. But I want to bring this to everybody's attention. There's a rapper that I listen to, and I don't let too many rappers bend my ear and kind of listen to what they're saying. One of them is Kevin Gates.
Yeah,
Kevin Gates has been through it. But one thing he said, on an interview, they asked him if he's ever hit his kids. He said, yeah, I smack them in their mouth when they don't listen to authority. Reason why is because I'm teaching them now to respect authority, because when he gets older and he don't learn how to respect authority, then cops are going to shoot his black ass. He said it just like that. And I recommend everybody go and check out that YouTube. He's raising his child to respect authority because he knows what the streets are out there. He's preparing his son to intelligently behave in a if he ever encounters that situation with authority, not to misbehave. Respect authority. Do what you got to do. Go sit down, press the bunk for a little bit, and come back home. Get your ticket. Go on about your business. You know, you don't have to be angry all the time. You don't have to be, you know, I want to say retarded. You know, if someone like Kevin Gates can be outspoken about the way he's raising his son, that's a true leader. Imagine what he can benefit if he actually stood up and started preaching that to the world, right? Teach your little ones how to respect authority, so when they get older, they don't end up laid out in the middle of the street with holes in the back.
With this generation that's coming up now in their 20s is the generation where we stop whipping kids. Like, my parents whipped my ass.
Same.
You know,
I got my ass whooped.
I know you did.
My dad fought me at 16.
Yep. And same here. So I got my broken wrist. 15. My dad kicked me out a second-story window for being a smart ass and taking a swing at him. He showed me what was up, you know. And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do because this caused me a handicap for the rest of my life. But, you know, like they whoop your ass. You know, this next generation, they got the participation trophies. I remember as a kid when we won a baseball game, we would call everybody else losers. Y'all fucking lost. We gonna catch you next year. We gonna see. And now it's like, oh, we all feel good about it. And then this is what happens is they don't respect the authority. And then, you know, they grow up and they learn that they don't have to because they're gonna get these participation trophies. But both of y'all said some points that I want to bring up and reiterate from a different perspective is for you, being from Texas, Pimp C and Bun B, they were legends. You know, they come out the Rap-A-Lot records. I'm actually reading Jay Prince's book on respect right now. It's a great book. I highly recommend everybody read it. And he's a good leader, you know, and he learned he had to clean his life up, right? And in the greatest rap CD, in my opinion, of all time, one of them at least, is Riding Dirty with UGK. And if you think about it, that whole album, they're talking about what they did while Bun B, to land Bun B in jail. He was literally recorded on phone calls from prison on that album saying, man, these fucking dudes dressed like hoes in here and motherfuckers doing this bullshit. Like, he has his whole 2 or 3 interludes between songs in there talking about how bad it is. These were real ones that did fucked up shit and went and served time. They learned the rules to the game the same way that the 3 of us did. Here's the problem we have now. Okay, and a lot of people don't know this because it's no different than the fake influencers that don't own the Lamborghinis they take pictures with. But Future is a motherfucking college graduate talking about how he sold dope his whole fucking life. Ain't ever been to jail once in his life and went to college. 2 Chainz graduated from fucking school, summa cum laude, and is talking all this shit about fucking all these things that he did. I don't think they're true. I think they're paid actors that are perpetuating this systematic racism. And look, I ain't gonna lie. If the Illuminati hits me up today and they're like, hey man, you want to make $100 million? And I'll be like, man, most people are shit anyway. Sign me up. Yeah. I'm not. If you tell me different, you lying like a motherfucker. Because when that check comes out, all of a sudden you're like, shit, I wasn't for sale, but fuck, for $100 million, we could talk about business, you know? And these are guys that are making 30, 50, $100 million. $100 million would be my number. You know, to some of these guys that shit, maybe 20 million is their number, you know? And you know, these guys that didn't really do this shit, but they're in character. You know, Dr. Dre and Eazy-E got into it in the early 2000s, and Eazy was really a grimy ass dude, and Dre was like a good boy in college and in school and shit like that. And then Dre came out with all this gangster shit, and Eazy called him out and said, "Bitch, you fucking studio gangster motherfucker," right? But that was the beginning of that. Oh, I don't have to be about it to talk about it. And then it got worse. You know what I mean? It really has. And
That's our
so
whole culture right now.
we're getting advice from people who ain't never done what they said they've done.
It's facts.
I'm pro ass whooping. Okay, but now I'm pro ass whooping. I think it's a softer generation. There's no more fighting out there in the middle of the street. Everybody's shooting. I mean, it's just, and it keeps getting worse. The pants keep getting tighter. Their shirts keep getting tighter. Their hair keeps getting pinker. You know, and they think it's cool. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm not
These
with
kids
this
nowadays,
new
they're like,
generation.
Can I get my iPad?
The young whippersnappers.
They don't even go outside. They don't even go outside.
Nah.
They don't even go outside.
I mean, we're the ramps, right? We used to get these big old things of bricks.
Hell yeah.
Set it up, put the board up there, get the bike. I don't care what kind of bike. You can have a 10-speed. You were trying to jump these ramps. I'm talking about with the handlebars that curl. And
We'll be coming in like, look at my scars.
Yeah.
Like, look at this shit.
I'm
My
41
mom would be like,
and
what
I'm
the
still getting them.
I broke my arm doing that shit.
Yeah.
We took an old wheel, and then we put like some plywood over the wheel, and it was thin plywood, and I was on like a little 10-speed, a mountain bike, they called them at the time, and I rolled off the side, and the deal flipped. I landed on my side, broke my damn arm. I remember those days.
It was fun. You got up and did it again.
So, and I think I said this in a previous episode, we had some people with kids over at the house, and we were going swimming, right? And it might even been that time you were there. And two of the kids came in, they're like, "Hey, you got an Xbox?" And my kids were like, "The hell we want to play Xbox for, man? We're playing outside in the pool." We're like, you know, and the little kids that came over and asked that, they were like kind of overweight, you know what I'm saying? And my kids, they're real thin because that's just how I was when I grew up too. But also because they're constantly outside. That my kids will fight with me. It's like, "Hey man, why can't we go to the park?" You know, it's like, shit, we don't know what the fuck's going on right now. You know, like y'all still a little young. When I was 7 years old, 6 years old, shit, I walked home from school. You know, both my parents worked. I didn't have a choice. And the bus, I lived close enough to the school to where the bus didn't run. So I just had to fucking walk home from school and stayed in the house. The rule was just get in the house, lock the door, don't let nobody over. You know, that was.
We weren't scared of the white van down the street.
No, we wasn't, man. Shit. How much candy you got, mister? It was different times. But back then, if the dude in the neighborhood got caught in that van with candy, they probably didn't call the cops. Your mom and dad and the fucking neighbors would fuck that dude up. And the whole neighborhood would know that dude got fucked up. Everybody but the cops. But nowadays, you go fuck that dude up, the cops come and arrest you and let the dude fucking go.
Bro, I done knocked on people's doors. People are soft. That's what I like. Honestly, as a door knocker, like, I hate the ring. People be talking to me through it and peeking out the door, calling cops on me. Like, this is shit I deal with every day. I knew you were coming. So, one guy opened the door up. "You're here with our roofing, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" He's like, "Oh, you're already on the Next Door app." I'm like, wow.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, they're warning people?
Yeah, my wife watches that shit like a hawk now that you say that.
And I'm like,
I've heard of that.
I'm out here providing a service. "Oh, well, this is a no solicitation. Now I have a permit from the city of Plano to be here. Here you go." "Oh, okay, well," and then the cops will pull up and they're like, "Well, he's good."
They call the cops on you?
Oh my goodness, bro! Once a week.
So I was with
what the fuck?
Once a week.
Yeah, that upsets me. That's
once a week. I'm telling you, bro.
So you know what we need to do? We need to ask
Burton.
Does he ever get the cops? Does he get the cops called on him?
I don't know. I haven't
That's
talked
a
to
good
Burton.
question for him. You know what I mean? Y'all in the same industry.
That's a great question.
I bought a F-250 yesterday. I traded my 150 for a 250, and the dude that sells me cars is a black guy. You know, he's half and half, but he looks a lot more black than white. And he's doing 75 hard right now. You know Josh.
Yeah.
He's doing 75 hard right now. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's Andy Frisella's fitness program. And one of the things you got to do is work out twice a day. And
It's a mental program.
it's a mental program. I'm actually starting it next week. And
It's that gallon.
and so Josh started it about 10 days ago. So he's on day 10, so it's already starting to like, I'm fucking and I'm in. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't like day 1, I'm out. It's like, I'm 10 days in, I got 65 more to go. And he works a car dealership, and I've worked at a car dealership. Sometimes you don't leave that bitch till 10:30, right? It closes at 9. You're supposed to be out there by 9:15, but if you got a customer, the fuckers that walk in at 9, you ain't leaving till 10:30. And he's in finance, so he's actually the finance director. So he's like, and he's the guy that's got to lock the door on the way out, right? So he can't leave until everybody's gone. So they got a customer in finance, finally gets out of there at 10:30. His wife calls him and says, hey, the baby's sick, and his wife don't get home till 11 from her job. And she's like, the baby's sick. Can you stop by CVS and get a thermometer and do some other stuff? So finally he does that. He gets home about 11:30. His wife gets in to take care of the baby. He's still got to do his second workout of the day.
Okay. 45 minutes.
45 minutes, right? Outside. And he's like, I got like 30 minutes to get this shit in to at least start it before the end of the day so I don't fuck my program up and start on day 1. And he goes, I go and I put on a black shirt because that's all. He's like the rest of us. That's all we ever wear. You go put on black shirts, some black shorts, some sneakers, and I walk by the mirror and I'm like, man, fuck. I'm a black dude running at fucking 11:30 at night through black. He lives in a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 neighborhood because he makes good money. And he's finance director of a dealership, so he's at an AutoNation dealership, so he makes good money. And he's like, fuck. He goes, I go back in, I put on a highlight yellow fucking t-shirt, fucking I go and I put on a headband that's like bright yellow and some fucking bright fucking blue shorts and you know, just a big smile while I'm running through the neighborhood. He's like, man, because I'm not trying to get fucking shot looking like I'm wearing dark shit running through the neighborhood. And he wasn't saying that to complain. If you know Josh, he's just a funny dude like the rest of us. But that really opened my eyes to like, shit, I could run through my neighborhood at 11 o'clock at night and probably nobody think nothing, you know?
That's a fact.
It's just taking precaution though.
Even when
but he's smart enough to know.
Yeah.
I used to work with another guy, right? This is when I first came up, like before I had my own business in roofing. And he used to go, I seen it with my own 2 eyes, no company logo, no cars. He kind of had the same hustle spirit. Sherwood, shout out to Sherwood. He would go on a white tee, blue jeans, just go up. He got a contract. No, I've tried that. Like those days I've done that, no doors get opened up. So I got the company hat with the company shirt, got my clipboard in the hand, like.
You look the part.
I have to.
Yep.
I don't have a choice. And then when people open the door, the first thing they look at the couple. Who you with? I'm like, I'm with Stonebriar. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what do you want? And then I'll be like, nothing. I'm just here to help. And then we slide in, but it's crazy. I deal with it every day.
I read a book, and it mentions how a suit can create authority, right? You see a doctor with a lab coat, and they actually did an experiment. It's a true, like, real legit experiment. They grabbed just a random dude, asked him to put on a lab coat, and give people medical advice, and people were eating it up. And the doctor, right, came with the jeans and the T-shirt, was giving them the real medical advice, and they weren't listening to him, right? So it goes with how you present yourself is how people are going to perceive you, right? So if you put on your polo shirt and your hat, people are going to perceive you as a roofer. If you go in anything other attire, they're going to judge you by the way you appear. Like Ryan said earlier, I think people's appearances have, I think it's 80% first. You know, everybody says the eyes or how you approach someone with a handshake and a smile. I think it's just the way you look overall. You know, all this is premeditated. You know, I'm trying to soften up my look. I got the glasses, my hair come to the side. I know I can be very intimidating. My eyes can be pretty intense if they're not behind my glasses. You know, and I've never heard anybody come to Ryan and say, man, that's a scary looking dude. I think once we tell them my story, they're in shock that I'm that dude. You know, I've always heard, man, Jose's been to jail? Yeah, that's where I met him at.
Yeah, well, even when y'all told me that story, I was like, for real? Yeah, that's facts.
Because I keep it very professional. I try to keep my cool at all times. I provide great customer service. I talk to everybody with a smile, and I provide great value. You know, and it's hard. The perception of being a convict, right, is we're violent. We're just, you know, trying to scam someone. I've never heard of someone relate value with a convict, right? It's just stigma. Like, it's convicts are bad people. You know, so if you've been to prison, you're probably gonna steal my wallet. But we don't come across as that. We come across as being helpful. You know, so it's the same thing. If I gotta dress like this and be professional, to be taken serious in this industry, to be successful and have opportunities open up to me, to have mentors kind of reach out to me and say, hey, I want to mentor you. You're a great guy. You have a lot of value. And I walk away leaving value behind as well, right? I don't just take value from people. I try to leave value behind too. No matter how I contribute it, I'll find a way to contribute value in return. But as far as appearing, I think that's a very important thing to adopt when you're approaching, you know, strangers.
I'm on your team.
This is a 360. So I'm listening to what you're saying, right? And I'm listening to what you're saying. Presentation is everything, right? We also talked earlier about the music and the culture that's perpetuated, especially like here in the black culture. I know for a fact, outside of the pedophiles and the rapists, that 90% of the people in the prison system, if they would have been born into a middle class or upper class family, they would not even be there at all.
That's because 90% of us was
you
in
are
the fucking drugs.
You are a product of your environment.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And being locked up in the feds, they had you remember that when they started like airing out all the gang members, started bringing the pedophiles into Seagoville? Were you there for that?
I was. I watched some of your friends stab one of those guys.
It was bad, but they all have a look to them.
Yeah, they do.
They have a fucking look.
Tell,
Fucking chumos.
Yeah, they have a look.
They bald a little bit, right?
Yeah, they all have that look, but they don't look like. Some of them don't look like creepy dudes. They look like teachers.
Yeah.
They look like professionals, you know, and you see
scary, though.
And you see their families coming to visit them, and their families look professional and live in, you know, $1 million homes, $700,000 houses and things, and that's huge here in Texas.
The Harry Weinsteins of the world.
Yeah,
you know,
people are
so
sick.
But I know that look. There's a look that they have to them, and their soft demeanor, like they have very soft demeanors, very soft look to them, and they just give you the creeps when you're around them. Yeah. But I know that if I were to take my daughter to kindergarten, I just got to take one look at the teacher and be like, nah, you know what? She's not coming to this school. Come on, pack your shit up. Today's not your first day of school.
Yeah.
You know, they have this soft look, and so that can be deceiving as well. You know, it's kind of like you going up there with the T-shirt and tennis shoes and not with the roofer outfit. You know, it can be deceiving. You're still great at what you do. You know, if they would have gave you the time of day to listen and provide the value and kind of educate them on the new roof, they would have been more open to it. But appearances they're huge.
I do social experience knocking doors because every day is a new day, right? So I be having fun with it. Sometimes I might come out like this. Sometimes I might wear a T-shirt with the logo on it, with the hat. And I literally be taking statistics. I know I'm going to get more sales if I got the hat with the shirt. I know on a fresh storm, and I'm putting out $1 million advice right now. If I put on an orange vest, people think it's an emergency. Always open the door.
Smart.
You know, when I started we don't really do this anymore, but my first gig was as an entrepreneur was being a sales trainer, you know, and now that sales is a very small part of what we do, but I wore a T-shirt, tattoos, you know, and guys like Brian Tracy and Grant Cardone would tell me, hey man, you're never going to make it in this industry unless you put a suit on. But I became an entrepreneur where I didn't have to wear a suit, and I like doing things the hard way. It's harder for me to sell you with tattoos and shit like that, and I like the thrill of the hunt so much that I'm willing to put some detriment to myself to be able to do that. But, you know, when I would run ads and here I am, you know, sleeve tattoo, And a lot of the comments would be like, what's this guy know about sales? He's covered in tattoos wearing a t-shirt, when I didn't sold circles around anybody that mentioned that shit, you know? And they made millions of dollars from sales before I got popular. Being that same way, I would work in the mortgage office and they would always want me to dress like what you're dressed, and I would still show up in a t-shirt and jeans. They'd be like, man, you're gonna end up running the customers off. Like, bitch, I'm the fucking #1 producer in here. But that's all everybody's perception, how you look. One thing I want to say before we end this is I'm a big supporter of a company or a nonprofit organization called Operation Underground Railroad. They rescue child slaves from sex trades and shit like that. Our company donates lots of money to them, lots of money to me. I guess that's relevant. But they have a new movie coming out called The Sound of Freedom. And this will be their second movie, but this time they got big-time actors on it. It's got Jim Caviezel playing Tim Ballard, who's the founder. And it's got, I forget the other girl's name that's in it, but she's real popular as well. You need to go over to YouTube and check that video out. First of all, carry some tissue with you. It's going to make you a little emotional, but it'll show you another side of shit that nobody's talking about right now, and it'll show you some real heroes that are doing some hero shit, that are trying to advance some things forward against the people. Like, because in the past, when those guys go to jail, right, it was up to guys like us to make sure that they were taken care of. You know what I mean? More guys like Jose than me, but, you know, it was up to the inmates to make sure that they were taken care of. These are guys that literally work for the Border Patrol and Customs and would find sex slaves, and the politicians and the governors and their bosses would say, that's not our job. You can't get focused on that. But they were seeing it so often that they quit working for the government, went and got private funding and got permits, and then started rescuing them. That's some real hero shit. So the reason why I say that is it's about time that other people step up in other cultures and start being that same way. They've seen it enough and got mad at it enough. Instead of putting a 30-second clip on Instagram, you go get you a permit, you go get you a nonprofit, and you start helping re-educate these people. If you watch the RNC this week, I just watched one day of it just to see what they talking about. I watched one day of the DNC, one day of the RNC. And the day that I watched it, President Trump pardoned a black guy from Las Vegas that was an ex-bank robber. But what he did, he didn't say, oh, you used to rob banks and you're black, I'm going to give you a pardon. That's not how it worked, right? Instead, the guy realized the errors of his way, saw that there was a problem in his own culture, went in and got a permit, started a nonprofit, and started a school for convicts that re-educated these convicts, gave diplomas, got them jobs, got them set up, and he's helped thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people of all colors. You didn't have to be a black person to go through his deal. And he made so much of a difference. And we never heard about this guy until President Trump signed and the dude showed up just thinking he was going to get an award, and he signed a pardon right there on the spot for the guy. He said, you've obviously changed. We're going to give you a full pardon.
Wow.
And that means he's restored everything, right? And so just think about that. Here's somebody who's actually doing this shit. Like, you may not have heard, you're listening right now, you might be like, who's Tim Ballard? You never heard of him because he's not in the media, because the media ain't trying to put those stories out there. You don't see a 30-second clip of Tim Ballard going and rescuing kids on social media because nobody's fucking putting those clips out there, but they do exist. We never seen that guy. I can't even remember his name. They got the pardon this week because we never seen that guy, because the media ain't going, hey, here's somebody stepping up for fucking people that grew up poor and made bad decisions and is rehabilitating their lives. We never hear about that shit. But just because you don't hear about stuff, folks, doesn't mean it don't exist. You know, there are heroes out there, and they don't all wear capes, and they ain't all in the spotlight, and they ain't all famous, but they're out there. So thank you guys for listening. That's our time on this episode. You can follow me on Instagram at Hardcore Closer, or if you want to follow me anywhere else, you can go to onespotsocial.com/closer.
I am Jose Escamilla Jr. on Instagram, Jose Escamilla Jr. on Facebook.
All right. Darian Stevens. It's Darian Stevens 1 on Instagram and Darian Stevens on Facebook.
Cool. We'll catch y'all next week.